Welcome to Wisdom Within with Tina and Tonya. If you're done conforming to others' expectations, done suppressing your wants and needs, and you're done feeling like life has no meaning, and you're ready to build a supportive relationship with yourself, address those resentments and disappointments that come from suppressing your needs and wants, and transform your life from the inside out, then you're in the right place. We're going to teach you how to do this using practices that will support you, mind, body, spirit. So today our discussion is all around the concept of healing. But before we begin, we want to do a little centering and getting us where we need to be in the right space. So Tina, will you take charge of that for us?
Yes, I'm burning some Palo Santo right now. Palo Santo is good for bringing in the good vibes, the good juju. So I'm going to burn that for a sec. And go ahead and close your eyes. We're just going to do a short little grounding exercise. Take a deep breath in. And another deep breath in. Release any tension. Imagine that you have roots growing from the bottom of your feet and the base of your spine, and let those roots grow down into the earth. So they go down through the floor and down into the earth and just spreading out. Just imagine those roots allowing you to be grounded, connected. If you have any tension, just release that through those roots. Allow Mother Earth to take that for you. Go ahead and open your eyes and allow yourself to be grounded.
Thank you. That feels amazing. I always love the way that feels. So, with this topic of healing, I feel like this is a big word and I feel like it's all over the place. We see it everywhere. We hear it everywhere. We hear it in different phrases: healing from trauma, emotional healing, physically healing, healing our relationship to food. Like there's just so many words of healing in there or phrase or concepts of it that it can be a little overwhelming and also confusing. And if we look at it, like I think it'll be good to just kind of dissect it and look at it in a little different way with a little maybe different perspective as well with that. So what if we just start with what is healing to us? Because that's kind of there's a lot to it there.
Right, right. So healing to me is basically owning your shit. So, and taking that responsibility for doing what needs to be done. So, you can't heal from anything if you don't take the responsibility. I know, I know many people in my life who have chosen to um, allow others, or allow themselves to blame others and others and others. And yes, we have, at one point, maybe there was some trauma or whatever. And yes, that could be on them. But at some point, we need to take charge and understand that we are the ones responsible for healing. So to me, it's owning your own shit. It's allowing um, allowing yourself to release, allowing yourself to be. Does that sound good to you? I don't know. What do you
Yeah.
think?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and I was just thinking with some of what you said, like, um, and I think even with the idea of owning our shit, right? Like when we're owning it, we're not owning other people's behavior. We're not owning something that happened to us. We're owning the healing. We're owning this is where I'm at.
Mhm.
And yes, these things happened to me, but I am taking charge, like what you said, of where it goes now. And so to me, that healing is unsticking, like coming unstuck from what happened in the past, what happened 5 minutes ago, and allowing ourselves to move forward. And
Right.
and I think too that when we look at healing, really giving ourselves permission for it to take some time and to allow that time to be part of the healing. If we try to pressure ourselves to get over something quickly, then we're putting that pressure, we're actually traumatizing the trauma. And if we can allow that to go, but at the same time, we have to be really careful to not get stuck in the healing of it and not get stuck and swimming in the situation, the chaos, the all the whys and hows and whats and all of that. We can have a tendency to spend too much time there as well. And
Right.
I think the cool part about it though is each person is different and the balance is different and it's really turning into yourself to say, okay, I understand this well enough for me to start taking those next steps too.
Mhm.
I think that's a big part of healing too, is knowing yourself and when it's time for me to move forward and when this understanding of all of the things that happened to me is starting to weigh me down and make me stuck there again or whatever. I hope that's making sense. It's making sense in my head.
Yes, it makes sense.
Hmm.
But yes, I agree because we we are a society of quick fixes, and when we think about healing, it's not linear. How do you, it's like it happens here, it happens here, it happens here. It's not, just a straight shot. And there's so many different levels of it too. And just giving yourself that permission to um, allow that and be in that, that's starting your healing. That's starting to be the healing. So yeah, it's definitely not a quick, we're not going to be healed, right? As soon as we start journaling about all the things that are going on, that's not going to be the thing that, you know, I mean, maybe some people it's going to start, you're going to, but, there are those different levels too.
Hmm. And I think it goes to the concept of healing versus cure too, um, because cure creates this idea that it's complete, right?
Mm-hmm.
That it is completely done. And there probably are some cures for things out there like the common cold. I mean, but again, it comes up again and we catch it all the time and maybe there's a slight variation. Well, that's exactly like healing, right? I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
maybe, we're healing. Um, but is there really a cure? I don't know that I necessarily, I mean, maybe in like a physical sense, potentially, but even that, there's so much emotional that's even tied to the physical that I feel like it's all connected. And
Right.
so allowing ourselves to let go of this expectation of the cure and allowing ourselves to really focus on true healing, which is a process. It's not
Mm-hmm.
take two of these and you should be fine. And that's like what you were saying with that immediate culture. Like I want to just sit down and how many days should I journal? Okay, I should journal for 21 days and then I should be done with, okay, well, you can be done with journaling. You can see what come up, came up during that time. You can learn those lessons. But does that mean you're never going to need to journal again or never need to explore that topic again? Like, probably not.
Mm-hmm. Right. And I feel like it's I kind of get a little bit triggered when I hear people say I'm healed, or I'm, I've gone through all of this stuff and now I'm healed. And it's like, to me, healing is going to be a lifelong process because we're human. We have all of the shit that comes along with being a human, and we have our ups and downs. We have have these roller coaster rides, we have things that happen to us, we have things that, you know, happen to our family or whatever. We have those little traumas, we have those big traumas, and it's just part of being human. So to me, I, I see it as it's a constant thing, and it's always being aware of the being aware uh, and I that we are always in this process
Hmm.
and taking responsibility for um, doing the work that goes along with um, healing or goes along with moving through this process. And so, um, yeah, that's I like I said, I struggle a little bit with people telling me, "Oh, I'm healed," because to me, it's not.
Uh-huh.
There's always something.
Right. But I do feel like that moment, that process, that specific topic can almost have like that container can kind of be complete
Mhm,
within reason. But,
mhm,
one of the things that I really like with what you were saying is, things are going to come back up. And and the awareness piece that you were just talking about, I feel like we're going to probably have to do a whole session on awareness, but I feel like
right,
awareness itself is the catalyst to healing, the catalyst to change. And I feel like it is probably one of the most, if not the most important thing that we can ever do. Because once we become aware of what it is that's coming up for us, we have so much understanding. And I think it helps us through the process so much more. So I know, for example, the both of us, we both have the 4-6 profile in human design. So we have that fear of rejection, and it is loud and proud. And when we are aware of our people pleasing tendencies, I don't know how many times you and I have had that conversation where it's like, oh, it's the people pleasing coming back up.
right,
And if we were expecting that to be done completely, we're always going to be upset and frustrated because it's never gone. And it finds a new way of presenting itself. And it's, oh, I, and in a way, it's like, I thought I was done with this, but it's like, this is a new situation and here it's coming up again. And we're people pleasing so that we're not being rejected. And here's how the behaviors are coming out. Like that is awareness that can really help us to it is to healing, but it is to help us understand so that we have a better quality of life. Like I believe we all get to be happy. I believe that we all get to design our life in a way that we enjoy it. I think that's what we're here for. And part of that does include healing. It always includes awareness, but it's looking at like, what about this situation is not bringing me joy? What do I need to do with that?
right. I agree with that, and I think that as you were talking there, I was thinking um, there are, you know, I know there are ways in which we do heal to a point, you know, like we have a trauma that happened years ago, and now we're at that point where we're not triggered as quickly. But there are, you know, there will be a time when one little thing all of a sudden triggers that. And so I feel like that is all part of the healing. So then you go back and you know, you figure out, you're aware, you find out that's the awareness coming up. You're like, oh yeah, I'm triggered by this. Why? And then we go into, you know, journaling, whatever process we have to kind of move through that. And it's a moving through, I think. It's not a like I'm healed thing. It's a moving through as we are processing whatever it is that happened or whatever it is that's going on in our life at that time.
Mhm. I do too. And I think sometimes well, maybe not just sometimes, maybe a lot of times we want to bypass We
Yes.
want to skip it. And it's interesting because even in my head, I have countless examples of this happening fairly quickly, getting insight, getting downloads, getting inspiration, like, oh, that's what it is. And it happens quite quickly
Mhm.
sometimes. But in my head, it's a huge, long, arduous process. And I think that if we focus and believe that it's going to be long and hard and arduous, then that's exactly what we're going to get. But
Mhm.
if we're open to allowing this idea or this insight or what is it that I need to know to come quickly, I think it can as well. But I think really not settling for surface level as we're doing the work too. Um, and not bypassing steps or bypassing the depth is, well, that's where my heart comes in. I'm like, oh, here we go. Um, I have a
And
lot
that my generator person there wants to bypass.
I know, right? And I'm like, okay, projector, Scorpio, like everything is the depths.
Yeah.
So I do love shadow work. I love the depths, but but it's because I believe that is where the true transformation comes from,
Mhm.
is the depths.
Right.
And like just taking our example of people pleasing, if we have something come up and we just go, oh, there's the people pleasing again, and we write it off as just the people pleasing, yep, we can still move forward. We can still say, that's not holding me back. I'm going to go do the thing. But the part that we're missing is, what about that is triggering us? What about this circumstance is calling for my attention? It's so easy to just, oh, it's people pleasing again. And it is most likely.
Mhm. Mhm.
But what about that has wisdom? What about
Right.
that is key? And I think that does take some time, and that can be arduous because I love to go, and what else? And what else? And what else?
Mhm.
And see if I can view that in a much more broad perspective, because that does help me learn it. And it probably will come back to, I'm just scared of being rejected. I have this fear. I'm people pleasing. I'm whatever. But I can understand it at a whole new level now because it's coming up again, and I have a whole new opportunity to dive into the depths of it and see what else there is to, what stone there is to turn over. And I think that for me, it's all part of that awareness, right?
Mhm.
And rather than just skirting over it and just letting it be, I might in the moment, because I don't have time to just drop and give me 20 every time I do it,
Right.
but I can always revisit that in, even within a week, and come back and just say, okay, what about that was really going on? I
Yeah.
think that is part of this whole healing that makes it seem really hard, is that we do probably need to go at least one more layer.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. And it can be daunting. It can, and like I said, like me, I do I can allow myself to skirt it, or to just kind of, okay, I see that's what it was and I'm off, when and I know that when I take the time and I dig a little deeper and I better understand, and I know what the trigger was, I'm not going to be as triggered the next time or be triggered. And I know that that's helping to heal something inside me, that's helping me to be less triggered, basically, or to, you know, maybe next time I'm not people pleasing. I see the people pleasing coming before I'm actually doing it. So yeah, it definitely does take at least one more layer, and it
Maybe
could take,
two.
3, 4 layers.
And I think it's fun because, okay, I don't necessarily say fun, but I do feel it's very rewarding, because for me, what has come out of doing that is transformation work to me. And what has come out of that is such a deeper understanding of, like you were saying, understanding the triggers and why they're there and what's coming up, so that we can take ownership for our response, our energy, how we really want to show up. It's given me compassion for other people, but it's really given me a lot more compassion for myself because I'm going deeper. I'm seeing where that originated or where it came from or why I'm feeling the way I feel. And rather than beating myself up, which would then require even more healing, right? I'm
Right.
really giving myself permission to look at it from a place of compassion and true understanding. I may not have every single nuance figured out, but I will have a really good picture of why I'm doing what I'm doing, why I'm having a physical reaction, emotional reaction, a whatever reaction to this. And then I can really go and look at myself from that lens, little bird's eye view of me here. And I'm like, wow, okay, I know what's coming up. I know why I'm feeling this way. And instead of saying, you're so stupid, this is I'm like, this still lives here. How
Mhm.
can I love it? How can I hug it? How can I mother that part of me that's feeling like crap right now? And kind of like talk her through that. Okay, you feel really, really bad. Go ahead and cry. Here's your permission to cry it out. Here's your permission to rant and rave and drop F bombs and do whatever you need to do. Like do it. And
Mhm.
and I can hold that part of me in a space of love and compassion, letting it do what it needs to do to work through there. And it's that has really helped me really learn to love myself so much more than I ever have.
And to me, that is healing, you
Mhm.
know, learning to love ourselves in those deeper ways. Because just like what you were explaining, that's learning that self-compassion, that's learning to give yourself that grace that we rarely do. I know a lot of us are so hard on ourselves, and we rarely give ourselves that grace. But as we're healing, we learn to give the grace. We learn to see, like you said, the bird's eye view. Look at ourselves in that with that view, and not just surface level it. Not just be um, beating ourselves up, not just be uh, um, letting ourselves do. So like sometimes my go-to is, even instead of giving myself the compassion, I'm just going to just be like, um I'm just going to allow myself to just do that anyway, instead of looking at it and giving myself compassion and not and because that's different. Allowing, I don't know that I'm explaining it right, but for me it's like allowing myself to do the thing, to my brain is like trying to find the words to explain it, because it's like I can feel it but I can't explain it. But it's like a allowing myself to um be a certain way or whatever, and not looking at myself in a deeper way, but and giving myself compassion. It's just kind of like pushing off, okay, I'm just going to let myself be this way or whatever. And
Mhm.
so I don't know if that made any sense at all, but that's kind of my brain. And so I think that when we are able to give ourselves that, and we are able to start doing the, allowing ourselves to love ourselves at a deeper level, then that's healing to me.
Mhm.
And I know that for me, like what you were saying, I have found that too, that I'm finding when I go a little deeper and I'm not skirting everything, I go a little deeper, I find that compassion, I find that love, and I let myself love myself a little bit deeper, or love that part of me maybe I don't like so much every once in a while, or, that part that comes out that's like, but I love her, that's part of me. So I allow myself to give her that love too. So,
Mhm. And I think that's so important because we get stuck in the shoulds, right? Like, I should
mhm,
be further along. I should have this figured out. I should not still be working through this and dealing with this. I should have. And when we really are doing like what you're saying and giving ourselves that compassion and grace, we're recognizing that we could not do it any earlier than we are right now because we've never been this person that we are right now. Even in the time that we pushed record on this to who we are right now is a new person, a different person. We've evolved in some way. And so to expect this person of even 5 minutes ago to respond the way that we would do right now is an unrealistic expectation. And
mhm,
so we do have the desire to be like, I want to be over here. I want to have this figured out. I want to be further ahead. I mean, that still does live there. But instead of beating ourselves up, allow that to be what do I need to do to take, like, what's one step I can do to move in that direction? That's a whole different thing than being mad at ourselves for who we are right now in this moment or who we were 5 minutes ago. And I think that is all part of this healing as well, is allowing those dreams and desires to be something that we're working toward. It's our roadmap, it's our compass. That's the direction I want to go versus I'm mad at myself because I haven't already arrived.
right,
I think that's another piece of healing because sometimes we want to rush it and be done and be here. So, and the only reason we can't is because we're still a work in progress. We're still learning a new way of being. And just allowing that whole topic of allowing ourselves
yeah,
to be in that place can be it's just part of the process, trusting the process.
right. And that healing is going to happen as we and like you said, that the different versions of ourselves. So we're as we're moving through those different versions of ourselves, it's healing. That's kind of how the healing is. We change, and that's what healing looks like, is we're changing. We're a different version than we were. And everybody does. There are some of us who want to stay the same. There are some of us who want to stay in that same mindset. There are some of us who want to be always doing the same thing all the time, right? And that's unhealed. That's where you're just going to stay in that same place all the time, not allow anybody to help you along the way, or to see that you even need to move a different way. And that, to me, is that unhealed version. And all these, when those of us who are allowing ourselves to become more healed, to start that healing process, that's when we start seeing those different versions of ourselves, and we change. And some of us change drastically, right? So I know for me, I was a totally different person when I was drinking all the time than I am now. And I see people um, who stay, like I said, stay in the same place. So, and yeah, I'm different than I was last week. I'm different than I was today. But I don't know how to articulate that unhealed part, because I know we all change, but there are some of us who want they I think it's a intentional staying the same. I don't know if it's, and maybe it's not intentional, it's unintentional, but they never want to look at trying to heal, right?
Right.
And so um when we are moving through those different phases, and we're different, and it does help us to um each each different version is a little bit different healed or a different, level of healing or whatever.
Level of understanding and
Yeah.
awareness too.
Right.
And I think sometimes too, for me, one thing that's helpful, and I know this is part of projector, is I learn me by viewing the others. Like
Mhm.
I watch, I'm a people watcher. I've been a people watcher for as long as I can remember. And I definitely have learned tools and techniques, but also a way of being. I learn by watching and observing others. And it almost always turns to say, okay, how what is like, okay, the lesson is turning on me. I can see
Mhm.
this in these people. And then I'm like, okay, how do I see that in myself? Where is that coming up? That resistance to change, where does that show up? The like all of those different things can really be helpful. So for some of us it is really, and it all still goes inward, but it can be, I can watch others and see, because we can really learn a lot by watching others, and we can grasp that's not just projectors. Everybody can learn by watching the other. But sometimes those applications can be like, okay, where in my life am I unwilling to change? Where am I swimming in the stuckness? And then allowing that information to come. And usually, once we just open the door of curiosity, I want to know more about myself. The universe is like, oh, cool, we're going to start to show you.
Right.
And there's been times when I'm like, bring it, more magic, please. And then there's times I'm like, whoa, we got to slow down just a little bit. Like, taper it off just a little. I need this to come a little more slowly this time. And and I think we can. I think we
Mhm.
can work through that a little bit too.
I agree. I love that you learn from watching others because I learned from these hard knocks on the head. It's like I do the thing and then it's like, "Oh, that wasn't what I should have been doing," or something
Mhm.
like that. My daughter, as you were, saying that, it reminds me of my daughter who is a projector. She's actually a splenic projector like you, and that's exactly her, you know? And my other daughter who is, um, Manny Jenny Manny generator, whatever you call them.
Manifesting
Manifesting
generator.
manifester, manifesting generator. She is very similar to me. We learn with the hard knocks, and I've had many times where I love watching people too, but that's not how I learn. I learn by sticking my hand in the fire.
Yep.
And
Yep.
that's and sometimes I wonder why I have so many I feel like I'm not at a level as some people who are younger than me with a lot of this healing or this learning or this. And I'm like, well, it's probably because I've been sticking my hand in the fire to learn before.
Well, and I think there's a lot to be said too with generations. I mean, there really is.
Yeah.
The way that you were parented versus the way that I was parented versus the way that we parented our kids versus the way our kids will parent their kids. Like
Right.
all of that, we see shifts in all of that.
That's
And
true.
so, especially when we start, like, I will see people, who are in their 20s, who are starting to do this work, who are going to therapy, who are going to do the deep work. And I'm like, man, I wish I'd have done that at that
Right.
age. I wish I would have started this healing journey back then.
Hmm.
Um, but that wasn't my journey. That
Hmm.
wasn't my path. And that's okay.
Right.
That's okay.
Right.
I would love to be further ahead, but I think that's one of the things that we kind of fall into is this trap of wanting to be further ahead and wanting to be complete, which I'm there.
Hmm.
But at the same time, we're missing the journey. We're missing the beauty of the present moment. And when we really are focusing on the struggle, we're missing. It's like my one of my favorite card. Well, I have a love-hate with this card in the tarot, and it's the Five of Cups. And it's you're so focused on the cups that are spilled that you're not noticing the ones that are behind you that are full.
Uh,
So it's gratitude.
yep.
But I think we all hit that in our life where something happens and we're focused on the spilled cups. and we
Mhm.
don't even acknowledge what we have. And I think that is part of being human, and part of the transition is teaching ourselves and learning how to deal with loss while embracing and loving what we still have and what does support us. And I feel like this is a lot of the healing, is we can have a tendency to do one of two things: pretend the loss didn't happen and only focus on the good. That's the toxic
Right.
positivity. Or only focus on the loss. So I feel like that's our invitation to find balance in both.
Mhm.
Swim in the suck, and also have holding the vibration of gratitude for the things that we do have. Like, and allowing both, allowing us to have a deep dive cry and a true heartwarming, swelling gratitude, and
Right.
being okay with both to
Yeah.
come and
I
go.
yeah. I agree, and it is, that's kind of like what you're talking about. What you just said was with, seeing all these young kids that are starting to do the healing, and I didn't start my journey until way later in life. So it's like, yeah, I do have that. There. I wish I was doing, more. I wish I had done more, but it's my journey, and it's something to be grateful for. I mean, each one of us is on this journey, and each one of us has our own, and it's something to be very grateful for.
Mhm.
But like you said, allowing yourself to be in the suck and
Yep.
allowing yourself to have that gratitude is definitely something that's healing, and it's going to move you more into those healing aspects of yourself, or healing, or being able to heal certain aspects, or being able to move through
Mhm.
whatever it is that's going on. So
Mhm. Do you have any tools or things that you use regularly to help you with healing, or help you with either healing in general and or deep diving?
mhm. The biggest one is, and I know you do this, is journaling.
Mhm.
um but also like cards. They're fun. They're something that, in which you can talk to that, because you are the card lady. um I'll
They're my
pull cards.
happy friends.
I'll pull cards here and there, but mostly it is journaling. And it is I started journaling for gratitude several years back. And I used to do this in my younger days. I've always, all my life, I've been I shouldn't say all my life, but I know most of my adult life I've looked for, this self-help stuff. I've always looked at the self-help stuff. And of course, they always talked about gratitude journaling. And so I would try writing down 10 things. And it never stuck with me until I finally learned that the way to journal for gratitude is to actually feel the gratitude, and actually understand that you are, or I guess it's just like actually feeling that gratitude as you're writing down the things. And it was actually, instead of writing down, listing these 10 things, it's writing down, I'm grateful for this, and this is why I'm grateful for this. And that was the turning point when I started writing those, doing that gratitude journaling. That helped me to start feeling that being more grateful for the things, started helping my healing journey, started helping me. I mean, it was kind of like the catalyst with that. And then, of course, journaling, when I can sit down and just start writing and just allow myself, because I tend to want to just start writing, and then I'm like off on something else. Like it starts getting deep, and I'm like, okay, I'm
Uh-huh.
done.
Yeah, distraction comes in, like, "Ooh, let's keep
Yeah,
this safe. We don't wanna go there."
right.
Mhm.
But when I allow myself, then that's when I get the answers,
Mhm.
and when I can sit down and really do that. Another thing that really helps me, and I don't know about others, but what really another is walking, or being outside in nature. If I'm out walking, or I'm out, then I am, um, and running really was the catalyst. That was one big one, but for some reason, that's when my mind's really. And I don't ever listen to music when I'm on my walks. I don't listen to anything but the sounds of nature and my breathing, which is, mostly. But that's when I start, my brain starts working, really starts thinking about all the things, and then I I start processing. I think I process a lot, and I have been walking or running, and I just start bawling because I know, these things have come to me, and it's like, oh, okay, I understand that. I understand that. And I just let it go. And
I love that
so yeah, those
because,
are my big ones. Yeah.
yeah, and what you said about the processing, like that is what happens with movement. Our body is allowing things to move so they can move through. And I love that because when we look at, okay, so we're both sitting as we're recording this. And when we're finished recording, I'm going to sit some more. And then
Mhm.
I might get up and go do something. And then I'm going to come back and sit some more. And so it almost inhibits our ability to bring in both right and left brain, right? When we're walking, we're naturally lighting up both sides of our brain. So we're going to have some complete type thoughts, right? Versus
Mhm.
just one or the other. So that movement of running, walking, jogging, doesn't matter what we're doing, but just that
Right.
movement is utilizing our full brain. And then if we have that thought here and we're sitting, it's hard to release because there's no movement. So that's what I love about movement is movement for healing is very different than movement for a beautiful body or
Right.
whatever define beautiful, but you know what I mean? Even a healthy
Mhm.
body.
Yeah.
If I'm moving to make my body healthy, that's one thing. But if I'm moving to heal, that's a whole different vibe.
Mhm.
And I love that intention.
Yeah. And and like I said, for me, I decided a long time ago that I will not wear headphones when I'm walking. I don't listen to music. I listen to my own thoughts.
Mhm.
And I think that's a big one. And it's hard.
Yeah, it is.
At first, it's really hard. But then you get used to it. And now it's like, I can't, it bothers me now to listen to music when I'm on my walks.
Mhm.
But yeah, so what are some of your things that you do?
Um, so I love shadow work. And for me, the shadow work is really looking at the part that I don't want to come to light, right? It's the part I want to keep in the shadow. And sometimes it's like, I don't want you to know it, but sometimes I don't even want me to know it. I kind of don't want to see it. And so sometimes it can be a little bit more challenging to find. But I like using the journaling, like what you were saying, to help get there. The gratitude is great, but I even love deeper diving with like, what about this is upsetting me? And really, because that has been really helpful for me understanding the triggers.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm triggered is okay, I notice, I'm aware. What about it? And what else and what else and what else? And I like to go down deeper. And I like to ask myself, what meaning am I creating out of this? Because that's another thing I do. So those journaling, those deeper questions are really helpful. But cards, cards are my thing. I have lots of conversations with my cards because I believe in they don't tell me what to do. Cards don't ever tell us what to do, but they really put words to the energy and they really help me. And it gives me an opportunity and a way to reflect on that. So I actually did this exercise yesterday with someone and we talked about getting stuck in the deep dive, right? And this getting stuck in the deep dive is just another way of our body protecting itself. So we can instantly go to, well, why is this bothering me? Well, because I'm not enough.
Mhm.
That is the cheap way out,
Right.
right? And so it's like, true, probably because most things do lead down to not enoughness in some way, shape, or form. So that's not that it's incorrect, but we're missing the richness and the depth that comes in between. And so the card, we just tried it yesterday and it actually worked so beautifully. It was so fun. So we brought up a topic and pulled a card, and the question that we asked the card was, what more do we need to know about, let's just say, depression? Flip the
Mhm.
card over, there's a word. Holy crap, it was spot on, of course, because
Oh,
that's what
uh-huh.
cards do.
Right.
So we were talking about, okay, how does this apply to the way that you feel with that? And then we pulled another card, and what else? And we did probably about 10 cards, and they just came, and it was helping her go deeper and deeper.
Mhm.
Where before, the resistance and that need to protect wasn't allowing her to pull any of those words up. She was stuck. And so this was just allowing her, through cards, flipping over a card, looking at the message on that next card, was helping her go and work deeper through that process. And we didn't spend a ton of time on it. We didn't sit and journal, but you can, as much time as you've got. Like, one of those cards, just journaling on that reflection would be huge. And then
Mhm.
come tomorrow and flip another card. And what else? Okay, let's journal about that. Like, it can really help us. So cards, to me, can help me see something that I'm missing. And sometimes
Mhm.
that's the question I take to my cards, is, what about this situation am I missing?
Mhm.
Um, a lot of times I come to the cards with, what do I need to know today? And I get some of the most beautiful, you are loved, you are whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, thank you, I feel great, but that doesn't tell me what I need to do. So I
Right,
take
right.
to it a little more of like, what am I missing with this
Yeah.
topic that I'm struggling with? And I mean, cards are my best friends. A lot of times I have lots of conversations with them, and they're a tool that I truly have learned to value and trust. I I know I can
Yeah.
pull a card, and I know my decks, and I know this one's really sweet, loving energy, and this
Yeah.
one's gonna hit me like the cosmic 2 by 4 and be a little
Right.
sassy. And so some days I'm like, I just wanna be nice. I want you to tell me nice. And then some days I'm like, okay, I need it. Hit me
Bring
hard.
it.
And I know I got that crow deck, because that's the one that's like, you know,
Yeah.
um, but that's fun to me. I love that I have developed a relationship with them to be the friends. Like just
Mhm.
like us, we know which friend we can go to for the gentle healing, and we know which friend we can go to that's going to give us the slap upside the head,
Right.
and we know what we need in each time. And so again, it goes to that inner wisdom of trusting what it is that you need and who you need to go to for help,
Mhm.
and accepting that help, right?
Right. Right.
I think.
Definitely.
Mhm.
I love those the coaching cards. I can't remember the name of the deck, but it's like they're just
The
little
soul truth,
questions and
that
soul truth. Yeah.
one.
That
Mhm.
that deck is like it'll definitely take you a little bit deeper, and you can just go through and journal about whatever's on that card for the day
Mhm.
and so yeah, I love that. And
I
I love
know.
how you connect with your cards. I love.
I know. I get so fun. I just get so I'm enthusiastic about it, and I
Yeah.
can't, it just shows. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I just can't help it." Um, but I do know that more than that, another tool that I use are people.
Hmm.
And when I have learned to not go to the people who are not on the same journey as me.
Right.
I used to go to people who were not in any way, shape, or form in a healing journey. And the advice that I got from there took me into a deeper dive of really self-loathing. I just
Hmm.
didn't like myself. And so I was going to the wrong people for help and for advice. Um, and so now that I have a group of people that, I mean, we're not all on the same path, but we're all headed in the same direction. And so I can really go to my friends, and even and really focusing on like, hey, what am I missing? Help me out. Even just spending time in their energy can be incredibly healing. Um, and then I've really, another tool, it's a tool, but it's not unfriending, but unsubscribing.
Right.
There's authors, there's podcasts, there's YouTube and TikTok and all the things. And I have people that I have learned so much from, and that I have so much respect for, that I have unsubscribed, because I just don't, it doesn't align with the direction I want to go anymore. Not that there's anything that they're doing that's not correct, but I just don't, that doesn't resonate with me anymore. At this time, if I ever need them, I know where to go.
Right.
But allowing myself to not fill my mind and thoughts with things that are no longer inspiring to me.
Hmm. Yeah, I love that.
Hmm.
And I do, I agree with the, I do the, with going to the right people.
Hmm.
Most of my life I was going to the wrong people, the same as you, and um, when we have that group of people that we can go to, it's like amazing. It's like it's the best thing ever because they can help you move through and help you with that healing or help you see where you're not what you're not seeing or. So yeah, I love that. And the unsubscribing, not my Facebook feeds all just things that that resonate with me because I don't want to see any of the other crap that you know
Yep.
it's going to bring me down.
Yep. Yep.
So yeah, those are some cool tools. I love that.
Hmm. I
I
think
was
it's
trying to think
I
if there was more.
I think it's mind, body, spirit, right? It goes
Mhm.
back to mind, body, spirit, and the things that we read, the people we talk to, the our mind is all for inspiration. So really truly recognizing what's inspirational and what's not.
Mhm.
And maybe it's just what's no longer too. I
Right.
hate to put like a hard, because I really do consume a lot of really great stuff, but I've had
Yeah.
to just say this one's now so a lot of the things, especially when I started my business and when I started going in this direction, it was productivity, it was
Mhm.
doing more, it
Oh
was
yeah.
that like get it done, here's how you can adjust your body so that you can get more shit done in a day. And now everything within me is repelled by that, like that makes me want to puke. And
Mhm.
so I love the people and what they're teaching, and that's correct for them. And I'm pretty sure they're all manifesting generators. Like, I would love to see their charts because I'm like, you are not built like me.
Right.
And that's okay. And before I used to really beat myself up. And so it created a lot of stress and pressure that I needed to perform and do things in this way. And now I'm like, everything within me is screaming, slow down, do less, be more intentional. I love to journal by candlelight. Like, I want this vibe. And
Mhm.
so when I find something that doesn't support that vibe, I my first reaction is, oh my gosh, I need to be doing. And then my second reaction is,
Yeah.
no.
Yep.
Unsubscribe. Get it
And
go.
that there that talking about healing, that there is healing. You're healing yourself from that go 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 go. And I think, and for your type, your human design, that is what you need to do is slow down. You'll get more done by slowing down, right?
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Now me as a generator, I could probably subscribe to all that go go go, but my personality is slower, and as I get older I just it's like we need to just kind of go through this a little bit slower.
Yeah.
But I can't, I don't subscribe to the get shit done culture
Yeah.
either right now. So
Well, and yours is still very much, you can go, 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 but it's for
mhm.
things that bring you joy. And we've
Joy, right.
taken that out of life. And that
Hmm.
is healing.
Right.
Projectors, we have a tendency to be too serious too much because we're deep diving and
Hmm.
finding solutions, and we're learning all those things. And so for me, it's remembering to play. I have
Yeah.
to remember to play. And that's what I do with, like, when I describe cards, I say I'm playing with cards. When I'm talking about Reiki, I'm playing with Reiki. Like, my healing sessions are different, but when I'm playing with Reiki, I'm playing with Reiki. I'm
Right.
playing. And I need that in my life. And I know for you, it's like joy. You need the joy. You can do the thing, you have the battery, but if it's not something that brings you joy, it's just as detrimental as it would be if I was trying to do it.
Right. Right. And that's healing. When I find the things that bring me joy, when I'm doing those things that I love, that light me up, it's healing myself, but it's also taking it out into the world in a better way.
Yep.
I think people are getting it more when I'm lit up or when I'm enjoying it. And so I definitely have to find those things that I love to do. And some days it's, you know, building my website, which I I need to quit doing. But I love creating, and so that's my thing, I love creating or building drums or making rattles or whatever,
Hmm.
all of that heals me. All of that. When I create a drum, each drum I make has some healing property to it, and it helps to heal me. And then as it goes out into the world, it's helping to heal others too. So,
Hmm.
oh yeah, that's bringing that joy. And I have to remember too, because I get serious. I'm like, I got to get this done, because I'm like the one that, I've got to get everything done. I got to do all the things.
Yep. And then I'm like, what can you let go of?
Yeah.
What can you set to the side? I'm
Yeah.
always like, oh, that sounds like way too much energy. How can you
Right.
simplify that?
Yeah. I'm like, I'm gonna do this and this and this and this and this. And you're like, oh no, no.
Yeah. Oh, Tina.
Slow down.
Yep. So is there anything that you would, any insight or anything that you would offer to people who are watching who are either just starting or kind of frustrated with this healing journey or something like that?
Um, just kind of I feel like when you are just beginning a healing journey, it's um did I lose you?
No, I'm here. I got
Oh,
you.
okay. You froze up on my screen, so I thought um so when you're just getting started, I feel like it's taking those baby steps and taking a little bit of uh time to maybe da dip your toe into different things that will help you. So, journaling. If journaling is not quite your thing, then going for a walk, or if, you know, playing with cards, whatever. Or it could be that you need to go see a therapist. It could be that you need to find a coach. It could be those things. So, I feel like taking that time to find that thing that is going to help you is one thing that can really be helpful. And then also understanding that it's not, whatever you find is not going to be a cure, and it's not going to be a instant thing. Healing's a it's you know I hate to use the word journey, but that's what it is. It's like, I feel like it's just, a continual journey and through our lives, and that we will, um, there will be some things that are deeper that we're working on that are, we may have all of these big traumas that have come up through our lives that we will have to work through, and those things take time to heal. Those things take time to let go of, and to be able to find a place to where we are not living in it, where we're not triggered by it all the time or whatever. So yeah, it's not. And if if you're frustrated with it, find something new. Try something different. What about you? What are some things that you
Um, for me, it would be it's never too late.
mm, yes.
To start or to
Mhm.
pick it back up or to continue. Um, it's never too late. You're never too old. The situation's never too done, the whatever. And just reminding yourself that even if you have a slight change, it's worth it. It's
Mhm.
worth it.
Right.
It's worth it for you that you yourself are enough. You are worthy of this. You are deserving of feeling better in life. And with the work that you do, it also ripples out to others. So
Right.
I love, here again is my fourth line, doing this for the others, but it is also for me, and it is enough. I am enough to receive this and have a better life. But I also see how that benefits my kids and my family, my friends, all that. So definitely that. And then also, um, not putting expectations on things.
Mhm.
Um, just pulling cards for the sake of pulling cards and journaling for the sake of journaling and meditating for the sake of meditating, not I'm meditating so that, I'm
Right.
meditating to reduce anxiety because then when we're meditating, we're feeling the anxiety because we're trying to reduce the anxiety and it's just we're aggravating it. So
Mhm.
meditate just for the sake of meditating because it we feel peace when we do, or we work things out in our mind when we do, or move for the sake of a healthy body, not because I need to lose weight or because I need my body to be healthy, but just because I know this is nourishment for my physical body. Like whatever those things are, just letting go of the heavy expectation of each of what wherever you decide to start, and start with just one small thing. And I'm just truly writing in my gratitude journal for the sake of expressing gratitude rather than I'm writing for this because it's supposed to make me feel better. Or, you know what
Right.
I mean?
Right.
That would be one thing that I would like, releasing the expectation of wherever you choose to start in
Mhm.
whatever, and not starting all of them all at once. We've shared quite a few
Yeah.
tools in here. Pick one,
Yeah.
just the one that stands out, the one that shines the most to you, and start there and just let yourself, if that's all you did, that would be enough.
Yes, I agree, and I love that you brought up that, the worthiness. You are worthy of it, and it is um, it's for you. It's not for anybody else. It's going to be for you. And if you see, like you said, if you see that little change, just that little change, it's worth it. And there is so much. There's so much freedom that comes from with the healing. It's not like a tangible thing, but it's that feeling of freedom, that feeling of living the life that you want to live. And that all comes through healing those things, those different aspects of ourselves that we um, hold us down, that hold us back.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. I think we've covered a lot of good stuff. Do you have anything else you would like to share? Or do you feel complete?
I feel complete with that.
I do too.
Yeah.
Do you want to do a little outro, closing the circle, so to speak, for us?
Ah, so as we close today, let's just take a little time to just ground ourselves into that, to what we spoke about, that healing, those healing aspects, the healing that we have, that we gain each day by doing those little things. Just kind of ground yourself into that. Allow yourself to feel whatever it is you're feeling right now. As we close this circle, we thank you. And we click and like and subscribe and all the things.
All
No,
the
thank
things,
you.
all the
Yeah,
things.
no, thank you for joining us today. And yeah, we enjoy these jabber fest
I know.
we
So fun. So fun. I love it.
have.
All right. I will go ahead and end, and we'll see you guys next time.